Hello there, class. All right, happy Wednesday to you. I just wanted to take a couple minutes today and go over the essay style answer with you guys because we didn't receive our test back from Of Mice and Men. And I think it's probably important to kind of go over how to properly answer a test question, how to structure it, and how to make it above average. A lot of people had good answers on their tests. I want to show you how to write a great answer today. So that's what we're going to focus on. What I'm going to do is I've taken a question that I would have put on your test for the Hate U Give, and I'm going to show you my thought process and how I would answer a question of that sort on a test if I was the one writing it, okay? So I'm just going to go over some quick tips and tricks, and show you just basically how to refine some answers, okay? So this would be the question I would have asked on the test. Since the beginning of the novel, the reader has gotten an inside look at Garden Heights that contradicts what is shown on television. One of the greatest strengths of the people in this neighborhood is the sense of community. Provide examples of this from the story. So the first thing I like to do when I write the question, hello Heatley. The dog has appeared. Apparently he's interested. So the first thing I'm going to ask myself is, what is this question asking me to do exactly? What do I have to answer? And I see right here that it says, provide examples of this from the story. I am providing examples of what? Of Garden Heights and their sense of community. You are allowed to write on the question. Don't be scared to take out a highlighter and circle, a square off, underline what needs to be answered, okay? The question is yours to write on. Don't be shy to do it. Okay, I've read the question. The first thing I'm going to do is tip 1. I am going to answer this as though I am writing a test. And a lot of people, what they start doing is they pick up their pencil, they take out their sheet, and they start writing their clean answer. Don't do that, okay? It's very difficult to just start with one thought and cleanly roll it into a next one while still hitting on all the points that you need to hit on for an essay style answer. I like to have a second sheet beside me and then I jot down ideas. So the question is, what gives them what examples do I know from the book that show a sense of community? Boom, I'm going to start jotting. Examples of sense of community. Well, there was just an incident with gunshots, and we had a bunch of the neighbors checking in. So I'll write neighbors check in. Because they do. And there are a couple instances in the book where the neighbors come and check in. What else? There was an incident at grocery store. At Mav's grocery store. Does anybody remember that one? At the grocery store where Mav got put face down on sidewalk, face down on sidewalk. The reason I think of that one is because remember how the whole community kind of came out and started filming it to see what was happening? That was definitely the community kind of rallying around Mav to show that they supported him. There's a camaraderie, there's a friendship downtown. I know they talk about the man I'll put between businesses. I know they talk a lot about the gentleman whose business is next door to Mav's, how he's a grumpy old man, but the truth is you can tell that he really does care about Maverick. He has a lot of respect for him. I also think of Star when she would go with Kenya to pick up dinner and they knew her special and everybody's so friendly. So I'll say friendship between businesses. Downtown. What else? We just saw Lisa's mom made a return to Garden Heights. Everybody recognizes her, so I'm going to put recognize people that have moved away. So even though she left, there was still Mrs. Pearl that was saying hi to her, and they were talking about, was it 40 shot or something like that? 40 ounce? There we go. I might be messing that name up, but that's okay. What else? There's a sense of friendliness. Everybody seems to talk to everybody. Oh, another big one. Sense of community would be when Mav hosts a meeting. Who did he host a meeting between? It was between the garden disciples. And who else? Yeah, that's right. The King Lords. Okay. That was a big deal. Those were talking about two opposite gangs. in an area that are both in Garden Heights, and obviously it's very uncommon, as the book said, for them to actually meet together in the same room, especially under civil circumstances. I've jotted down ideas. This is a test, okay? So that should be plenty to be able to give me an answer that I can work with, okay? The second tip is I take a mental note of the time. Okay, if I'm writing a test and I've glanced over this test and Madame Fong has given me a total of 4 questions and I have 1 hour to do it. Okay, if I take that hour and I break it into 4, that's 15 minutes. Some questions are more long, some are more short. This is going to be a long one. I should be looking at the clock right now and going, okay, I'm giving myself 15 minutes to write this baby out. 15 minutes. It is incredibly important to check the time while you're doing these tasks when it comes to a test. And you know what? Even when you're writing it at home and it's an essay, it's still good to check the time, because when you're taking a half an hour, okay, when you're taking a half an hour to write an essay, you tend to get very blah and bogged down. You're better off to do brainstorm quick, pause, walk away, come back, and then do another 15, okay? This whole situation I'm showing you guys is a test. So I am really giving myself 15 minutes. That's the limit. And no, I'm not going to make it a 15-minute video. I will simply post my final answer at the end, okay? I've jotted my ideas. I've done this on a separate sheet. This is not the answer I'm handing in to Madame Fong. I'm going to tell myself, I've got 15 minutes. Let's get these ideas together. And tip 3 is return to your brainstorm and roughly organize your answer for ease. Have any hints been given? And when I say have any hints been given, I mean in the question. Is there anything in the question that I should be looking at going, oh, that's a really good idea. I could totally throw that in my essay. So this is an essay style answer. This is not a full essay. It will be shorter, it'll be more brief. Either way, it still has to have an intro. Your intro should have a thesis statement, and your thesis statement should sum up your main arguments. Some arguments. Body paragraphs. You need to have at least 2, minimum 2, okay? 1 body paragraph is not enough to sell an answer for an essay style question. If you can go to 3, that's great, but you need a minimum of 2, okay? And then you're gonna need a conclusion at the end just to close off your answer and wrap it up. Okay, so the first thing I wanna do is I wanna return to my brainstorm and roughly organize. I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 examples. I am not even remotely thinking about giving 5 body paragraphs in my answer. That would be outrageous. Is there any way that I can group my ideas into arguments to answer the question? And a reminder, it's provide examples of this from the story, of the sense of community. I'm providing examples of sense of community. Neighbors checking on each other. At the grocery store front, Mav when he's put face down on the sidewalk and everybody rallies around him. Friendship between businesses. Recognize that people have moved away and they still say hi to them and everybody's friendly. Mav hosts a meeting between the Garden Disciples and the King Lords. How would I group this? If I look at my first 4 ideas, they kind of blend together. I would actually even group them, and I would group them all as I'd group them all as the Timmins syndrome. Everyone knows each other. Knows everyone. Everyone knows everyone. And this point right here, the last example that I've given, that is major, because that meeting he has between the Garden Disciples and the King Lords is all about how to protect the community. And why is this one so important? Because we're talking about people who are enemies, and they're coming together for the betterment of the community. Actually, I like how I said that, so I'll put that. I'll put betterment, yes. Willingness to put aside difference. Willingness to put aside differences. Okay, for the betterment of the community. Right there, I have taken a bunch of ideas. I've now got 1 body paragraph, I've now got 2 body paragraphs. Boom, boom. I have to write an introduction. So guess what? My thesis statement needs to have this and this in it. Boom. I've already created my ideas. Now it's just a question of taking them and structuring them into a sentence, okay? If you need to review how to write a thesis statement, okay, go online if you don't have your binder with you and just Google sample thesis statements. You'll get the hang of it, okay? Also, the other thing I wrote was, have any hints been given? I'm going to reread the question again. Since the beginning of the novel, the reader has gotten an inside look at Garden Heights that contradicts what is shown on television. Why would the question say that? That contradicts what is shown on television? It's because they're giving you a snack. They're giving you a treat. They're giving you one introductory sentence that says, hey, this might be something really good to include where? In your introduction. If I'm writing out this answer, I'm going to take that hint and I'm going to run with it, okay? And I'm going to write it just really quickly. Contradicts television. When I'm writing my answer, and this is how you really go from a 3 to a 4, is by looking at the question and going, oh, they're saying it contradicts television. Well, how does the television seem to portray Garden Heights? Well, the media seems to portray them as the ghetto, as dangerous, as a bunch of hoodlums, everybody's in a gang, when that's just not the reality. The reality is you have hardworking people who are running businesses. You have seniors in the community. You have people that help those seniors. You have people that are running community gardens. The community is flourishing. They just have an issue with crime in certain areas and gangs, which are obviously hard to avoid given the circumstances a lot of these people are living in. Okay? So if I were to write my answer, I know that I'm going to have 1 and 2 in my topics, in my thesis statement. I'm going to use my intro to talk about how they're seen on television because that's going to give me my 4. And then my body paragraphs. I'm going to start with my topic sentence, which is going to be everyone seems to know everyone for my first. Willingness to put aside differences for the betterment of the community for my second. And then my answers, my examples that I've given can go within each paragraph. And then I'll wrap it up with the conclusion. Okay? That's how you structure an essay style answer. And this on a test, I know that I'm thinking out loud for you guys and it is taking a lot of time. The reality is this should probably take you 2 minutes. And then this is just a mental note saying, okay, I'm giving myself 15 minutes. I've looked at the clock in the classroom and go. And this right here, I wrote it down for you to be clean, but in your mind, you should be going, okay, first body paragraph, second. My introduction needs to have a thesis statement, which will have both my arguments in it. And then as I'm writing my body paragraphs, I've already written down the topic sentence. I just need to word it more cleanly. Okay? And that's how you start to take an answer and you make it above average and you give a proper essay style answer. So your work for the week is after having read the 3 assigned chapters, okay, I've already done this question and I'm going to give you guys, what I'll do is I'll post my complete typed answer so you can see how I gussied it up a little bit. Your job is to take the question that I'm going to post online. It's regarding Star's friendship with Haley. Whether you believe that the friendship should be kept or whether it should be dropped. So you're going to do a very similar thing. You do not need to show me your full brainstorm. What I do need to see is a properly written essay style answer. So you will still have your introduction, thesis statement, body paragraphs, conclusion. Okay? Keep in mind, this would be a test answer. I'm asking you to write me a test answer. I am not asking you to write me a full-blown essay. So this should take you, once again, let's just say 15 minutes hypothetically, but it should be taking you no more than 30 minutes to construct. That should be your maximum time for this task, 30 minutes. Okay? All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll be sure to send my feedback on your answers once I receive them. Have a great week.